Well, today we are going to talk about a work that we cannot avoid, a must-read book for smart girls. It's called A Room of One's Own. Most people have heard the book that says that if a woman wants to write fiction, she must have money and a room of her own. The money must be £500 and the room must be lockable. On October 20th and October 26th, 1928, Woolf gave 2 lectures at Cambridge University. The following year, he combined the 2 lectures and published this book. This book has 6 chapters in total. In the first chapter, he declared that if a woman wants to write a novel, she must have money and a room of her own. You can now understand that this sentence challenges many habits and social realities at the time. So what does he mean? He is not talking about a room or money, but freedom. This is Woolf's consistent and clear point of view, saying that a person's mental freedom depends on material foundation. Don't tell me these things if you don't have money. What does £500 mean? Financial freedom means you can do what you really like without worrying about money. You can have free time to work, write, and create. What about the room that can be used? It represents spatial freedom. I want to have room for independent thinking. It is just a house. The wind can enter, the rain can enter, but the king cannot enter. It belongs to me. In most of human history and civilization, society has been built on a male-centered system. With the progress of the times, women's consciousness has begun to awaken, and they must fight for their own rights. For example, the right to reproduce, the right to inherit property, the right to political elections, the right to equal pay, and the right to education. This also involves issues such as sexual harassment and domestic violence. At this point, our male friends should not be afraid, and you should not be nervous. Woolf is not a shareholder. Women want to live a life free from men. In fact, he first acknowledges the differences between the sexes. Woolf would think that women's creativity is completely different from men's. It would be a pity if women wrote like men, lived like men, and looked like men. Because since men and women each have their shortcomings, and the world is so vast and rich, why should one sex try? This is very rational. Since men and women are different, how can their values complement each other? Woolf expressed another important point, that is, a great mind should be androgynous. Remember this sentence: there are 2 forces in everyone's soul. One is male, and the other is female. Do you have it in yourself? On the one hand, you are very capable and can endure hardships, and on the other hand, you are very gentle and loving. Is he contradictory? No. Does he agree with women? Well, not only that, men also have it. So Woolf believes that in the minds of men, male power overwhelms female power, and in the minds of women, female power overcomes male power. Only when these 2 forces coexist harmoniously and are spiritually compatible, people will be in a normal and comfortable state. Therefore, as a woman in a man's mind, you must also play your role. Great minds are androgynous, which means that as a woman, it is important to have a spiritual connection with the man in one's mind. Cao Xueqin created Lin Dayu, and Hua Mulan went to battle, both demonstrating this understanding. It's worth noting that this idea was originally expressed by Clerug, not Woolf. But Woolf would try and develop it further, and he would remind everyone that only by achieving a harmonious mind can talents be rich, and various materials can be brought into full play. So Woolf said that a purely male mind might not be able to create, and the same is true for a purely female mind. The concept of androgyny not only represents Woolf's creative view, but also his attitude towards gender concepts. So he encouraged women to be independent, but he did not advocate that being independent means being against men. He acknowledged that both sexes had their own strengths and limitations, but he stressed that any artistic creation requires a certain cooperation between the male and female parts of the brain. When those contradictory and opposing elements are closely combined, extraordinary creativity will occur. So forget your gender, forget that you are a woman, and pick up a book or a pen to read, write, express yourself, and gain freedom. This passage has a great impact on me. It is true that when you respect something, whether it is crafts, writing, dancing, entrepreneurship, or even reading, how can you distinguish whether you are male or female? You only discovered the power that belongs to the individual. So the progress of women, including the self-reflection of men, is actually driven by small events, one after another. After being sorted out by outstanding minds, it will affect the course of history. So I have always wanted to pay tribute to people like Woolf. Yin and charm coexist. If you look at the photo of him, his profile is very cold and beautiful, with clear contours. She is beautiful, but inviolable. Oops, this looks androgynous to me.